And we have our final guest with us to discuss the latest development in Rafah, the latest development in war with Hamas. And he's one Łukasz Przybyszewski, who is a founder of Abhaseed Foundation Fund. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Do you think it came as a disappointment that these tunnels were empty of the hostages? Do you think that capturing by Israel those tunnels, securing that bit of the land, does it have any strategic importance in the conflict?
It, of course, does have huge strategic importance because a lot of arms and ammunition, etc., was smuggled through those tunnels from the Egyptian territory into Gaza. Yeah. So that's one. Second, I still remember that pretty much everyone was very concerned that people in Rafah and Tel al-Sultan at camp will at a certain point try to actually storm the border fences. Yeah. So that's why also the Egyptian military made some moves that they approached the border closer and they were closely watching what's happening. But now we see that, okay, the Israeli forces have secured this border corridor and, well, okay, they're uncovering tunnels, but those tunnels were closely monitored, as it was said by Diana earlier, by the Israeli military. So it would be very naive to think that that would be the place where those hostages will be kept. Most likely, they're just kept somewhere under the buildings because that's the easiest way to keep them in secret. Yeah, and basically, I don't think that the hostages are all kept in one place. I think they have dispersed them among a few groups at least, depending on how many actually still are alive, yeah? And such messages as we have seen now, yeah? With a statement from one of the hostages, it's of course it's on purpose, yeah? But the aim of it is to force the Israeli military to act more carefully, yeah? And what does this mean? This means that then Hamas can actually inflict more casualties on the Israeli military. That's the thing. That's why they're airing this now. And, well, we talk a lot about Rafah, but actually bombings by Israeli military operations are going all over the Gaza Strip, and also there are now incursions into the West Bank because, well, most likely there were some signals that something might actually escalate there too. I think that also the Egyptian government now came to a conclusion that this is the beginning of the end of the conflict, and perhaps that's also why they came with such unpopular decisions like cutting the bread subsidies. So I think that this is the beginning of the end of the war between Hamas and Israel, but it will last for months at least.
All right, so I want to turn our attention to what you just mentioned earlier, the beginning of the end. And are we going to expect more intense actions coming out going forward? Are we going to see more death tolls, more casualty as, like you said, we're reaching a point where we might see some drastic actions?
No, the scale of the conflict is getting lower, which means that there will be fewer casualties, but the fightings will be much more brutal because Hamas fighters, the more they're actually cornered, the more desperate they will be, and they'll just fight with such fervor that, it might be that there'll be also suicide bombings. That's a very likely scenario. And so they will disperse, they will also hide between the civilians. So civilian casualties are absolutely unavoidable. And, well, there will be less casualties, but there will be also more pictures coming out. There will be also more videos showing the atrocities committed by both sides, yeah. And people will start to realize. The more people will watch what's happening now at the end of this conflict, the more recordings will encapsulate in small tragedies the huge tragedy that took place. Yeah, because we are speaking about thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of casualties. But people's attention and imagination is unable to grasp it, so they'll focus on those few last recordings and pictures coming out from the end of the conflict.
So with people being flooded by especially on the social media, by campaigns such as All Eyes on Rafah, and with many, especially young people at the moment whose hearts are really leaning towards the Palestinian casualties, do you think that release of the statement by one of the captured Israelis, will that remind about the other side of the conflict, though not as numerous, but those people captured by Hamas who are still in the corridors, in the tunnels, who were somewhat, left they were not given as prominent a place in a sort of a popular expression of feelings?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I get what you mean. Well, this statement by the hostage, it will speak more, actually, it will reach more the Israelis or just Jews somewhere around the world who could imagine that, well, I could have been in his position. Yeah, I could have been just bombed and killed by my own military, who was supposedly attempting to release me. Yeah, but they just didn't know where I am, etc., etc. So that's the aim of this video. The videos that show the casualties, like the killed children, women, both pregnant, not pregnant, young boys, men, doesn't matter, just people. This attracts the attention of the general publicity. Yeah, the general audience in the world. Yeah, I myself have just yesterday I was going back home by bus, and I've seen a young lad, I don't know, like 15, 14 years old, and he had this sports bag coming out back from the gym, and he had this tag on the back, on this bag, which stated "Free Palestine." Okay, but then I asked him, "Have you ever been to the Middle East?" No. Okay, but both sides are actually killing each other. So why Palestine and not someone else? And he just said that, well, there are so many pictures and videos coming out from Palestine that he doesn't see any reason to stand for Israel. Yeah, so we see that on this side, on the Israelis are clearly losing. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Przybyszewski, thank you so much for that very measured analysis.